I want to start by reading the introduction to A Course in Miracles. In the very beginning, before you get to the first chapter in the text, the introduction basically sums up the entire course. So one small little page to get to 1,300 pages. If you can grasp what this introduction is saying, and that's my intent tonight, is to help you grasp that, then studying the course will be so much easier. But the introduction is simple and powerful and designed to give you the essence of the course. So let's read this introduction. In paragraph 1, this is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take is voluntary. Now, I'm going to come back and explain these in a little bit, but I want to read it all the way through just to get these words into your consciousness. But let me start again. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at any given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the presence, the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So let's break this down. This is a Course in Miracles. You're learning how to shift your perception. That's all a miracle is. We shift from fear to love, from illusion to reality. We're going to shift from what the ego tells us to what God has declared as truth. It is a required course. And the reason it is required, and I want you to understand that Jesus, in giving us this book, is not saying you have to study A Course in Miracles, but it is saying that the material contained herein is required. So if you come at this through the Buddhist path, if you come at this through the path of Islam, through the path of Christianity, through being an atheist, if you come at it through science, it does not matter. But the information contained herein is truth. So you must follow the path of truth to get to God. Does that make sense? So when you understand what is in here, you will find that it is the same universal truth that is in so many other things. It's the same universal truth that is in what you study here. In Science of Mind, same universal truth. So it is required, very simply, that you know truth. Does that make sense? Isn't that sweet? Okay, only the time you take it is voluntary. So you can choose to take the time that you want, but you cannot alter the course. Why? Because free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. Just because you have free will, you can't go making up your own idea of truth. Because we have been using our free will to make up our own idea of truth is that we have imprisoned ourselves because we have been misusing truth. So you have free will. Every one of us has free will, and we will touch on that tonight. We need to understand how to use that free will. Because until we learn how to use free will, we will not be free. So we've got to understand that. So it means only that you can elect what you want to take at any given time. So people can take it when they're young. People can't receive this till they're much older. This information is going to be around for many, many generations to come. So if you don't get it all in this lifetime, don't worry, you'll catch it in the next one. So give yourself permission to begin to think of yourself as eternal so that you can relax, because the more you relax your mind, the more you're going to be able to grasp what's in here. And let me just say something about that. So my youngest son, Spencer, he is 22 years, he'll be 23 this year. When he was 14, he entered into what I call his 4-year drug adventure. 14 years old. And we made a deal. I said to him, listen, sweetie, and I might have mentioned this to you last week, but I said to him, you can keep doing your drugs as long as you let me coach you. And it was maybe a year into his drug adventure that I started studying the Course in Miracles. And as soon as I started reading it, I said to him, we've got to do this together. And we started doing the Course together. And this, I know the Course is what assisted in helping him move through his addiction. And the 12 steps, because that was such a big part of the process. So he would come home and share the steps, and I would match the steps to what the Course was saying, and little by little, I created a program for him with a combination of the steps, the 12 steps and Course in Miracles. And he's been in college now it's going on 5 years. And when he left home to go to college, he said, Mom, I want to find my own stuff. I'm going to do my own thing. So just know, I love what you share, but I want to find my own way. And I'm like, perfect. He had already stopped doing drugs that very month that he started college. He participated in 12 steps. He actually met a wonderful man who became his sponsor, who was a student of the Course. Oh. And my son, Spencer, decided that he didn't really want to study this. So for the last 2 years, he hasn't been doing a whole lot of anything other than paying attention to the thoughts in his mind. Well, he was over for dinner the other night, Saturday night. He was having dinner with me, and we're cooking. We're getting ready to prepare some spinach, and he loves to cook. So he's getting the spinach, the pan ready, and I'm getting the spinach out, and he says, Mom, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, okay. He goes, now, please, I don't want to hear anything about it. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to add something interesting to the spinach, whatever. I trust you. Go for it. Do whatever you want to do to the spinach. He says, it's not about the spinach. I'm like, all right. He says, I just want to let you know. A couple weeks ago, I started reading the Course. But I don't want to talk to you about it because I want to get my own experience of it. And I was like, cool. Do you want salt for the spinach? It's like, all right. So for him, that was such a big deal. So here it says very easily, very clearly, it means only that you can elect what you want to take at any given time. He could only take so much 5 years ago, 9 years ago. He could only take so much when he had his sponsor a couple of years ago. Now he's ready for however much he's going to take. So you're invited to take from it whatever you want, and don't worry about the rest. Now, here's some very, very powerful statements. Sentence number 6, the Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. And when you think about that, how can you be taught what love is? You can't be taught what love is. Why? Because you have to understand what it is not. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So we have inherited the presence of love. It is what is inside of us. So the Course is a course in training us to understand our mind, because it is our mind that has built the blocks to our knowing, being aware that there is a presence within us, and it is the presence of love. And the Course is going to let us know that what is inside of us and what we're inside of is the same one thing. And that love that is inside of us is God. It is one and the same. It is synonymous. God and love, spirit, energy are all the same one thing. And it is what permeates the whole of the universe. So it's inside of us, it's outside of us, it is what we are made of. So how is it that we have not known what love is when it is the presence that is within us? Because we have built blocks to love. The Course is going to spend the bulk of its time telling us what those blocks are, and then it's going to give us, through the workbook, through the lessons, practices, so that we can begin to feel the presence of love within us. Isn't that sweet? So don't come here trying to learn how to get a lover or 47 steps to a wonderful relationship, because this is not going to teach you that. It's going to teach you one simple thing. How are you blocking love? And then it's up to you to unblock it. Then here's another key thing to understand. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. So how is it that we're told that there's an opposite to love, and then we're told that what is encompassing can have no opposite? Well, love is all that there is. God is all that there is. The energy, the consciousness that God is all that there is. So if there's an opposite, it is fear. But the fear is what is an illusion that we've used to block love. Just as there is no source of darkness, nobody goes over there to turn on the dark switch. And then all this darkness comes into the room. That's not what happens. There is only light. And then we block the light. We willingly turn the switch down and block the light. That is what fear is our choice to block the light. That's why what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. There is no opposite to light. There is no source of it. There is not a factory of darkness that we go by to bring it home, turn it on at night. So what the Course wants you to really understand is that love is all that there is. So when we remove the blocks, there's the presence of love where it's always been, right there. Then the Course can be summed up very simply. Nothing real can be threatened. You can't threaten light. You cannot threaten love. You cannot threaten God. You cannot threaten truth. And then nothing unreal exists. So we need to begin to understand, how have we been blocking love? How have we been blocking truth? Because when you get well practiced, once you move into that spiritual maturity, you realize that fear was never real. It's an illusion. It feels real when you're believing it, but the minute you stop believing it, it ceases to be. The minute you turn on the switch, the darkness goes away. There is no darkness. So we are being invited to really get the difference between what is real and what is unreal, because it is there that we're going to find the peace of God. Does that make sense?